After hitting send, her critique went viral. 5 incredible ways the CEO transformed her life. Emma sat at her desk, the weight of the world pressing down. The fluorescent lights hummed as her fingers danced over the keyboard, barely keeping up with the anxiety bubbling inside. Today was different, and unbearable tension filled the air. Were they really going to move forward with that ridiculous marketing initiative that seemed destined to fail? She could hardly breathe as her heart raced. Before she knew it, she'd hit send on an email that would turn her life upside down. Her critique, raw and honest, went out to everyone in the company. It called out the absurdity of sticking to a plan that could cost dozens of jobs, including her own. Time seemed to freeze. Panic swept through her, fearful of the backlash, fearful of repercussions. As she clicked the little sent icon, a tight knot formed in her chest, but there was no going back now. What she didn't expect was the wave of support that rolled in. Colleagues flooded the office chat with praise. Finally, someone said it. Was the recurring mantra. The marketplace echoed back her sentiments, each voice a cheer of solidarity. Suddenly, Emma felt seen for the first time in her company. The numbness that had settled in since starting her position dissipated, replaced by warmth and hope. Days turned into a flurry of viral tweets and industry discussion panels, her words reaching every corner of their corporate world. Then, she received an unexpected invitation from the CEO himself, a man whose journey mirrored her mother's struggles. The seasoned leader, with his humble beginnings, recognized her potential. He reached out, offering to mentor her through the storm that was corporate politics. Throughout this, Emma felt an emotional tug-of-war inside her. With her mother's sacrifices flickering in her mind, the lessons to strive for security but also chase dreams collided. Each community engagement she attended, directed by the CEO's guidance, unveiled more of her true values, igniting a fire for change. But with each step toward her ambitions came a seep of guilt regarding loyalty to her family's financial needs. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Emma rose within the company, the moment of greatest impact came crashing down. Management was deciding on a new directive that could seriously harm employees, and she was standing before her colleagues, the weight of her mother's struggles weighing heavy on her heart. She felt torn between defending her newfound platform or yielding to the comfort of familiarity for the sake of her family. The conference room was silent, an electric tension hung in the air, and all Emma could think was, would her voice be enough to turn the tide? Would she be able to stand up against a decision that countered everything she had fought for? Her palms sweated, her stomach twisted. As she opened her mouth to speak, the world paused, and doubts loomed large. In that charged moment, she had to decide whether to embrace her truth or retreat into the shadows of security, chasing a vision of peace that felt increasingly out of reach. Would authenticity be enough not only for her but also for those she loved? As Emma shifted her weight from one foot to the other, her mouth went dry. The conference room felt like a pressure cooker, every eye fixed on her, waiting for a beacon of hope, or perhaps a harbinger of conflict. It was all too familiar. Her mother's voice echoed in her mind, reminding her of the sacrifices made for a better life, a life filled with stability. Taking a deep breath, Emma mustered the courage. She had spoken up before, but today felt different. Today was about more than just her career, it was about the future of her colleagues. They all depended on her, and she couldn't let fear silence her anymore. She inhaled deeply, presenting her case. While I understand the reasons behind the new initiative, it profoundly disregards the dedicated employees who form the backbone of this company, she asserted, her voice steady yet shaking with underlying emotion. Each word felt like heavy artillery, dismantling the walls of complacency in the room. We owe it to ourselves to advocate for each other. A murmur ran through the room. Some nodded in support, others looked skeptical. The CEO, sitting at the end of the table, leaned forward. His eyes glimmered with a mix of curiosity and respect. She had their attention, and now it was time to push further. I know we all face challenges and have our priorities. But let us not sacrifice our integrity for short-term gains, Emma continued, her heart pounding in her chest. We need a strategy that valorizes every voice, not just the bottom line. Slowly, the atmosphere began to shift. Heads turned toward one another, whispers of agreement rippled through the crowd. She could see her friends, her allies, sitting at the edges of their seats, with expressions of hope dawning in their eyes. Emma felt an electric pulse of energy surge through her, as if her words were igniting something that had been buried for too long, a collective thirst for change. But with each minute that passed, doubt seeped back in. What if this attempt to rally her peers only backfired? Would she be risking her job? They always told her to play it safe, yet here she was, doing the exact opposite. Emma, her boss finally interjected, his voice suddenly loud in the stillness. I hear your concerns. And they are valid. But change doesn't come easy. When the CEO raised his hand, signaling for silence. I appreciate your honesty, Emma, he said, an earnestness in his tone that caught her off guard. Your words reflect a conscious leadership that we desperately need. A spark of hope flared within her, but could it be true? Could one voice really initiate change? The thought terrified and exhilarated her. What if we take the time to reevaluate this plan? He proposed, glancing at the other executives. After all, the strength of a company lies in its people. Let us listen to what they need. As relief and joy spread through the room, Emma couldn't stop her heart from soaring. This was more than merely saving jobs, it was about claiming a shared vision for the future. But just as she reveled in that moment, doubt crept back. What about the pressure from above? Would the management team support their CEO? A knot twisted in her stomach. Could she trust that the shift she had witnessed today would hold? Was this her new reality, or just a fleeting moment of hope? She breathed in deeply, ready to face whatever came next. After all, the battle for real change was just beginning. Would her voice continue to ring true in the halls of power, or would she find herself silenced once again? Emma had no answers, but one thing was certain, she was ready to fight for every dream she held dear. And with that, the next challenge loomed before her. What was the price she would pay for authenticity, and would it be worth it? As the meeting adjourned, Emma felt as if she had just stepped off a stage after an electrifying performance. There was a buzz in the room, and as she made her way out, people began to gather around her, some with bright smiles, others with a newfound determination glimmering in their eyes. Emma, I can't believe you said all that. Rachel, a coworker from the marketing team, exclaimed. You really gave them something to think about. Yeah, I mean, you took a huge risk, Mark chimed in. But it felt different this time. It felt powerful. Emma felt warmth bloom in her chest. Their words wrapped around her like a comforting blanket. But just as swiftly, a flicker of worry crept back. What if the CEO really meant it, but the others didn't? What if this surge of support was just a fleeting moment? She glanced over her shoulder to see the CEO conversing with some of the executives. The sight filled her with both hope and dread. She needed to know what came next. Would they truly consider a change, or was it all just talk? The days that followed felt like a strange limbo. Emma dove into her work, but her mind was a constant whirl of possibilities and fears. Would her brave stand spark genuine discussions? Or would she pay for her defiance when the dust settled? Then, a notification chimed on her phone. It was an article titled, "The Voice of Change, a Hidden Star in Corporate America." Intrigued and slightly anxious, she clicked on it. The article detailed the meeting, highlighting her bold speech, her arguments for valuing employees, and the CEO's surprising support. Before she knew it, the comments rolled in dozens of them. Most were supportive, praising her for her courage and vision. Yet, amidst the compliments, there were also critiques that cut deep, questioning not only her intentions but her career choices. Was she really stepping up, or just trying to cover her own shortcomings? One vicious comment read. Emma's heart sank. Ignore them, she whispered to herself, fighting back tears as she read through the bewildering blend of praise and scorn. But the reality was, she couldn't. Each word felt like a weight added to her already loaded shoulders. Days turned into a week, and the article continued to trend. Her colleagues congratulated her, but whispers lingered. Some were inspired, others were cautious. The office dynamic shifted subtly, and Elle felt the jagged edges of uncertainty start to slice into her once cozy work environment. But then one afternoon, as Emma sat sipping coffee and trying to regain her focus, her phone buzzed again. It was the CEO reaching out, wanting to meet. A rush of exhilaration followed by a swell of terror. What would this mean? Was he ready to take the plunge for change, or was he looking for someone to blame? Before she could slip too deep into the spiral of anxiety, she reminded herself of the fire that had ignited her in that conference room. She had spoken out for better, for others. With renewed determination, she stood tall, ready to face whatever came next. The CEO's meeting held the potential for something monumental, something that could transform her life even further. Could her path lead her to a future where her authenticity was her greatest asset? Or would this be the moment where the stakes pulled her deeper into a world of corporate games she was unsure she could navigate? As she pushed those thoughts aside, a final resolution settled within her: she would stay true to her values, no matter the cost. And in that moment, she realized everything was about to change. What awaited her in that meeting? The following day felt electric. Emma could hardly sleep, her mind racing with scenarios about the meeting. Yet, with the sun peeking through her window and a fresh cup of coffee in hand, she focused on the present moment. Today might be the day her world shifted for good. As Emma walked into the office, the air felt thick with anticipation. Eyes followed her, whispers floated, but she steeled herself. She wouldn't let doubt win today. She wasn't just an employee anymore, she was a symbol of change, whether she liked it or not. Her phone buzzed just before noon. The CEO was ready to meet. Heart racing, she walked to his office, each step echoing inside her head. The door swung open, revealing him seated at his massive desk, a warm smile breaking the stern demeanor he often wore. "Emma," he said, gesturing for her to sit. "I've been eager to talk since our last meeting." "Thank you for reaching out," Emma replied, forcing the tremble from her voice. "I want to start by saying how much I appreciated your boldness in that meeting." "It took guts," he continued, leaning forward. "It's not easy to speak up, especially in a room full of seasoned executives." The praise felt like a gentle beacon in a storm. Deep inside, she knew she needed to keep pushing. "Thank you. I believe we all have a stake in making this place better." He nodded thoughtfully. "Exactly. And I believe that's what we need more of. I want your thoughts on what we can do moving forward. This isn't just a passing moment, I genuinely want to hear your ideas." A sense of relief washed over her. This was her chance to turn conversation into action. "I think we need to focus on employee well-being, mental health initiatives, and open communication channels. People want to feel valued and heard. They want to know that their voices matter." The CEO listened intently, occasionally jotting down notes. Emma felt a surge of confidence, each word lifting like a weight, grounding her in purpose. "Those are powerful points," he responded, his tone serious. "I want you to spearhead a task force on employee engagement. We'll need to be strategic about it. Will you take this on?" For a brief moment, all she could do was blink at him in disbelief. Leading a task force? She had imagined many outcomes, but this wasn't one of them. Yes, I'd love to," she exclaimed, her voice slightly shaky. "Great. I'll have HR reach out to you for the details." "Your authenticity is exactly what we need to navigate these waters," he said, smiling. "This is the start of something big." As she left his office, her mind raced. This was more than she had hoped for, yet the weight of responsibility settled on her shoulders. Hope surged through her veins, but so did doubt. What if she failed? Back at her desk, her coworkers were abuzz with congratulatory messages. Rachel beamed at her. "I heard you're heading a task force. This is amazing." "I can't believe it," Emma replied, a smile creeping onto her lips despite her apprehension. In the midst of it all, the nagging whispers in her mind began to fade. Perhaps she wasn't just stepping into the corporate game. She could change it, transform it into something powerful and meaningful. But just then, another notification chimed on her phone. A new article had dropped. Her heart dropped as she read the headline, "Emma's Rise. Is this corporate America's new revolution or a one-hit wonder?" Questions burned in her mind as she clicked the link. Could she withstand the scrutiny? And what did the future truly hold for her now? The chaos of the office around Emma faded into a dull hum as she absorbed the article, her heart tumbling into a pit of uncertainty. The words "new revolution" danced mockingly in her mind, contradicting her self-doubt. Just days into her task force, her rise was gaining traction, but scrutiny loomed like a storm cloud overhead. She sat back in her chair, breathing deeply to steady her racing heart. The article highlighted her courage but also questioned her capability. A one-hit wonder? The phrase felt like weights pressing down on her chest. She couldn't help but wonder if the CEO had made a mistake choosing her. Rachel, sensing her shift in mood, paused from her chatter. "Hey, you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." It took Emma a moment to shake off the tendrils of anxiety wrapping around her. "Yeah, just this article," she murmured, gesturing to the screen. "Don't let it get to you," Rachel said firmly. "You've got the support of the team, and the CEO backing you. We all believe in you." A small flicker of warmth ignited in Emma at Rachel's words, but it was quickly swallowed by fresh doubts. How could she lead others when she often felt so uncertain herself? Was she really equipped for this challenge? When she arrived home that night, the house felt unsettled. The stillness only amplified her thoughts. She clicked on the article again, absorbing every line. The comments section was a battlefield. Supporters rallied behind her while critics sharpened their claws. One comment in particular stuck out: "She'll crash and burn. Change doesn't happen overnight." A wave of frustration washed over her. She wasn't about to buckle under the pressure. Perhaps those very thoughts were the catalyst she needed. Every story of change came with its skeptics. She simply had to push through. That night, Emma sat down with a blank notebook, pen dancing between her fingers as she wrote. She mapped out her vision for the task force. Concrete goals, strategies for employee engagement, and initiatives to improve mental health swirled onto the pages. Each word felt like a reaffirmation of her purpose. She wrote faster, letting the ideas flow until exhaustion set in. It was late when she put the lid on her pen, fatigue washing over her but leaving satisfaction in its wake. As the moonlight trickled into her room, Emma felt a burgeoning sense of resolve. The next day, she would gather a small group of like-minded individuals from different departments. They would brainstorm, invigorate one another, and fill the task force with energy. But as she prepared for bed, her phone buzzed again. This time, it was a message from an unknown number. "Can we talk? I have some insights that might help." Emma furrowed her brow, feeling a mingling of curiosity and apprehension. Who could it be? What insights could they offer? The wheels in her mind began to turn, and a thrilling anticipation raced through her. What if this was the breakthrough she needed? What new paths could open up from this unexpected conversation? Her heart raced as she considered the possibilities. Emma's brain whirred as she held her phone, staring at the message. Whose insights could be so valuable? A colleague? A mentor she had lost touch with? Or maybe someone from higher up? She felt a blend of excitement and unease nudging her stomach. After a moment's hesitation, she typed back, "Sure, I'd love to chat." Who is this? She hit send and put down her phone, forcing herself to focus on sleep. Sleep didn't come easily, though. She tossed and turned, replaying the day's events and her aspirations for tomorrow. Finally, when exhaustion overwhelmed her thoughts, Emma fell into a deep slumber, filled with fragmented dreams of inspiration and applause. The morning greeted her with the familiar sound of her alarm ringing insistently, yet today felt different. There was a spark in her spirit that made her quickly jump out of bed. She dressed mindfully, choosing her favorite navy blazer that gave her a small confidence boost, paired with simple yet strong boots. Today, she would own her path. As she navigated through the bustling office, conversations buzzed around her. She greeted her colleagues with a bright smile, holding on to Rachel's encouragement like armor. There was warmth in the air, and a sense of collaboration felt tangible. It was time for the meeting to refine the task force vision. Gathering in the conference room, she gestured for everyone to sit. The eclectic group consisted of a designer, an IT specialist, and even someone from HR, each one bringing their own flavor to the mix. Emma felt the energy shift when people started sharing ideas, crafting plans that sparked enthusiasm. What if we set up a brainstorming session in a casual space, maybe outside? Julie, the designer, suggested, her eyes lighting up. I think we could get amazing feedback from the team that way. I love that. Emma beamed, a rush of empowerment washing over her. Let us make it happen. Who can lead the logistics? The conversation flowed like a stream, each suggestion building upon the last. Just as their ideas reached a crescendo, her phone vibrated, snapping Emma momentarily out of the flow. A new message blinked on the screen from the unknown number. It's Taylor. I have a lot to share about the project and how to ramp up your approach. When are you free? Emma's heart skipped a beat. Taylor? The name rang familiar. Hadn't they worked together a few years back? She took a breath, quieting her racing thoughts. This could be the insights she needed. After the meeting wrapped up with bubbling enthusiasm, Emma replied to Taylor, suggesting they chat over coffee. She stepped out into the bright light of a sunny afternoon, feeling the warmth seep into her bones. The world felt expansive, possibilities swirling in the air around her. As she made her way to the cafe, anticipation bubbled within. What could Taylor possibly reveal? Would it be strategies or techniques that could elevate her approach even further? Or perhaps they would provide insights on how to silence her critics? Entering the cafe, she spotted Taylor at a corner table, immersed in a notebook. Emma's pulse quickened. She was about to step into an exchange that could transform her journey in unexpected ways. But before she could reach the table, she heard a laugh come from behind her. It was Rachel, chatting animatedly with a couple of coworkers, and one phrase grabbed Emma's attention. We need to do something about Emma's recent article, it's getting out of control. Emma paused, her heart dropping. What were they saying? What had happened? A wave of dread washed over her, blending with the hope that had surged just moments before. What chaos awaited her now? Emma felt the room spin slightly as questions raced through her mind. What had she written that could possibly be out of control? Was it something she had said? A tone she hadn't intended? Her palms grew clammy as Rachel's laughter echoed like a distant alarm bell. Turning slowly, Emma forced a smile as she waved to her friend. The last thing she wanted was for Rachel to see her looking frazzled. Pasting on her confident facade, she pushed aside the sense of impending doom and approached Taylor instead. Hey! Thanks for meeting me, Emma managed, sliding into the chair across from Taylor, who looked up with an encouraging smile. Of course. Glad we could connect, Taylor replied, her notebook closed but not forgotten. The edges of the pages were well worn, a testament to the thoughts and ideas contained within. I've been wanting to share some strategies that I think could really resonate with your project. Emma nodded, trying to concentrate on the conversation in front of her. As Taylor elaborated on her ideas, the initial nerves began to ease. This moment was what she had longed for, an opportunity to learn and grow, to gain insights that could propel her career and maybe even change the narrative around her work. But in the back of her mind, Rachel's words lingered like an echo. What chaos awaited? Was her work truly the spark of controversy? And that's why I think making your proposals more visual could help, Taylor concluded, her eyes brightening with passion. Emma sat up straight, momentarily forgetting her worries. Yes. I love that idea, she replied, feeling the buzz of inspiration flowing again. Visuals can connect people in ways that pure text can't. I need to incorporate that. Suddenly, her phone vibrated again. Glancing at the screen, Emma's heart sank. Multiple notifications from her colleagues pinged in, the little red dots clouding her previously clear view of the future. Taking a breath, she opened one of the threads. Did you see the comments on Emma's article? They're brutal. Like she's been thrown to the wolves. Maybe she should just delete it and start fresh. The words sliced through her, underscoring just how unpredictable the world she navigated was. Was this the breakthrough she had wished for? Feedback? Or just public shaming? Her hands trembled slightly, but she forced herself to look up at Taylor, who was studying her with concern. Are you all right? Taylor asked gently. Not really, Emma admitted, voice barely above a whisper. I think I messed up big time. The rush of adrenaline from the caffeine earlier had vanished, leaving her feeling hollow. Then, with every beat of her heart, anger began to rise inside of her. Was this really how things were supposed to go? I don't want to just sit here and talk strategies while my work gets ripped apart, Emma said, determination refueling her spirit. I want to respond. I need to take control. Taylor leaned in closer, encouraging her. That's the spirit. Use this as a driving force. Find a way to turn it around and make it yours. You can do it. Emma's heart beat faster, the gears turning in her mind. She could leverage this moment. Instead of allowing it to define her, she could redefine it. Standing up suddenly, she tucked her phone away, turning to Taylor with a renewed spark in her eyes. You're right. I'm not going to let this defeat me. I'm going to find a way to get ahead. Let's brainstorm those visuals right now. I need all the help I can get. And with that, Emma felt a rushing tide of hope wash over her again. But just as she was about to dive deep into strategy, her phone lit up again, this time with a direct message from Rachel. You need to meet up ASAP. It's serious. Emma felt her breath hitch. What had Rachel found out? What could possibly be so urgent that she needed to drop everything? As she looked back at Taylor, determination met unease in her chest. This day was spiraling, and she needed to get a grip. Would this be the turning point she had hoped for, or the moment everything would come crashing down? Emma stepped out into the crisp air, her mind racing faster than her hurried footsteps. The coffee shop had faded behind her, along with the cozy sense of safety she had felt only moments before. Now, every breath felt like a heavy weight, pressing against her chest as the sun beat down. Rachel's message had been a jolt, a flashing siren demanding her attention. She was on her way across town, chasing the urgency like it was a thread leading to answers. When she arrived at the quiet park where they often met, the contrast was striking. The peaceful sound of birds chirping and the distant laughter of children playing felt like a cruel juxtaposition against the storm brewing inside her. Emma scanned the area for Rachel, trying to shake off the anxious tension coiling in her stomach. Rachel appeared from behind a tall oak tree, her expression serious, a stark contrast to the usual lightness they shared. Emma, thank you for coming right away, she said, urgency coloring her tone. Hey, what is going on? You sounded frantic in your message, Emma replied, trying to keep her voice steady despite her rising anxiety. I found out something that could change everything, Rachel started, glancing around to ensure they were alone. It's about those comments on your article. Some people aren't just criticizing, they're actively trying to undermine you. It's more than just feedback. Emma felt a cold knot form in her stomach. What do you mean? Who is behind this? Rachel took a deep breath. Some colleagues, people you thought were on your side, are stirring the pot. They're spreading rumors and questioning your integrity, not just your work. It's vicious. The weight of Rachel's words crashed over Emma like a tidal wave. She had been trying to summon strength amidst disappointment, only to discover a betrayal lurking in the shadows. Why would they do that? Jealousy, probably. Maybe they think you're a threat, that your voice is gaining too much attention. The louder you get, the more exposed they feel, Rachel explained, her voice shifting to a softer tone as she placed a hand on Emma's arm. You have to take this seriously. Emma's heart raced, anger mixing with disbelief. This isn't just a bad review then. It's personal. Her mind flickered back to all the late nights she had poured into her work, the pieces she had agonized over, hoping they would inspire rather than incite. We can fight back, Emma, Rachel urged. You can use this. Own the narrative. Turn their negativity into motivation. Just as those words began to settle in, Emma's phone buzzed again, illuminating a message from one of her biggest supporters. This is getting out of hand. We need to talk about how to protect you. Meet up? Emma felt a surge of hope mingled with urgency. I need to set the record straight. If they want to try to bring me down, they'll have to do it to my face. I'm not going to be silent. Rachel smiled then, an encouragement that pierced the dark clouds of uncertainty hanging overhead. That's the spirit, Emma. Let us start drafting a response. You can also reach out to others for support. You're not alone in this. The sun peeked through the trees, casting a golden light over their conversation, illuminating a path forward. Emma's heart beat with newfound purpose. She could be the one to redefine her story. But her mind flashed back to the swirling chaos and the lurking shadows, reminding her of what was at stake. What if it gets worse? Emma whispered. What if they don't stop? Rachel squeezed her hand. That's a risk we'll have to take. But you're not backing down, right? The challenge set fire to Emma's veins. No, I won't. This is just the beginning. As they started brainstorming ideas, a flutter of excitement sparked amid the turmoil. But amid their planning, another message popped up on Emma's screen. I know what you did. You won't get away with it. Emma's breath hitched again, this time with sheer dread. What more was coming? She exchanged a worried glance with Rachel. Wasn't it always darkest before the dawn? Or was this just the start of a much deeper storm? Emma glanced at her phone, the words on the screen blurring as her heart raced. I know what you did. You won't get away with it. Each letter felt like a punch in the gut. Who was this person? What did they know? And why now, when the stakes felt so high? Rachel leaned closer, concern etching lines across her forehead. Emma, what does it say? Is it more of this nonsense? With shaking hands, Emma turned the phone toward Rachel. Someone's threatening me. I don't know who it is, but this feels serious. Rachel's gaze hardened. We can't ignore this. Do you have any idea what they're talking about? Emma bit her lip, her mind racing back to the article that had stirred the pot so violently. There had been countless comments, some harsh, others oddly specific. I don't know. I just thought I was calling out some issues, amplifying voices that needed to be heard. Now it feels like you've ignited a fire, Rachel finished for her, determination settling in her eyes. This doesn't feel like just a small group. It's bigger than that. We need a plan. Emma nodded, resolve creeping back in. Right. I need to take control of this narrative. If they want to fight, I'll show them what I'm made of. They moved to a nearby bench, where they could strategize without prying eyes. Emma pulled up her notes, her fingers tapping the screen methodically as she decided how to respond. Each tap sparked ideas, and soon words flowed. The promise she'd made to herself echoed in her mind. This was her moment to rise, not fall. As they began drafting a response, a sliver of doubt crept back in. What if her defense made things worse? Rachel, what if I misread the situation? What if I make it all blow up in my face? Rachel shook her head with conviction. You need to be bold. If you hold back, it will only give these people more power over you. They thrive on your silence. Turn their words into your rallying cry. Every muscle in Emma's body felt like it was on high alert. Okay. Let us get this right. Just then, another notification chimed from her phone. It was a message from her best friend, Mia. I believe in you. You've got people in your corner ready to back you up. Don't let them silence you. Emma let out a shaky breath, emboldened by Mia's words. Support mattered, and it was time to mobilize that energy. I should reach out to Mia. She had some great connections in the media. If we're going to set the record straight, we need all the help we can get. Absolutely, Rachel agreed. Start by drafting something for social media. Hit back with your truth, and don't let anyone think they can intimidate you. Emma poured herself into the work, finding her voice through a swell of optimism mingling with fury. As they crafted a post, her fingers moved quicker than her thoughts, the words spilling forth like a cathartic release. But just as she hit send, a cold chill ran down her spine. She scanned the park, a sense of being watched creeping over her. The vibrant bird songs began to fade, replaced by the drone of her racing thoughts. Had she painted a target on her back by speaking out? Would the backlash be worse than the comments she already faced? Emma? Rachel's gentle nudge pulled her from the spiral. What is going on? As she glanced back at Rachel, her phone buzzed yet again. This time, it was a video link, a live stream from someone she recognized. We have someone going public now. Rachel gripped Emma's arm. What is it? Emma took a deep breath. Looks like it might not just be whispers anymore. It's time to deal with this head-on. As the link loaded, a familiar face filled the screen, and the words, "exclusive interview," flashed above. Emma's heart raced with fear and trepidation. Who was about to speak her name? Would the truth she fought for turn the tides, or was this just the beginning of a bigger storm? Emma's heart pounded as she watched the screen, the anticipation making her pulse quicken. The live stream opened with a familiar corporate talking head, someone she hadn't expected to see in such a sensational context. Today, we're diving into the controversy swirling around Emma Lewis's recent commentary on company practices, the host said with an air of expectation. Each word dripped with the promise of scandal, like a sharp knife twisting in her gut. What's the narrative going to be? She whispered to Rachel, her brow furrowed with worry. I don't know, but it can't be good, Rachel replied, her voice vibrating with tension. They watched intently, fingers knotted together, as the host introduced a roundtable of familiar faces. Emma's chest tightened. These were her colleagues, but not the ones who would lift her up. We need to discuss whether Emma's words actually reflect the sentiments within our teams or if they're merely a personal agenda masquerading as concern for employee welfare, one colleague said, their tone dripping with disdain. Emma's thoughts spiraled. It felt like a betrayal. One moment of courage had turned into a battleground. What if their words set the narrative before she could reclaim her story? In the midst of the growing uncertainty, Rachel squeezed her hand with support. You're stronger than this, Emma, she said, grounding her in the moment. This is your chance to rise above it. Right, Emma replied, breathing in determination. If they want a narrative, I'll show them the truth. Just as Emma started to formulate a strategy, her phone buzzed again. It was a message from Mia. I've got some media contacts, and we can set the record straight. Let us capitalize on this. Suddenly, a surge of hope replaced the tremors of anxiety that had gripped her. She shot back a quick affirmation and watched as the traditional corporate blinkers fell away, revealing a community ready to stand by her. As the live stream continued, Emma's anger turned into resolve. They might try to crush my voice, but I want to be silenced. They need to know that the criticism will only fuel my fire. The moment of truth arrived as her phone rang, a call from the CEO. Emma, you've seen the live stream. We need to talk. It's imperative we act decisively to support the foundation you're building, he said, his voice resonating with authority. In that moment, the weight on her shoulders felt lighter, encouraged by the CEO's recognition of her potential. I'm ready to take the lead, she said, confidence spilling out like an open floodgate. We need to hold an open forum. Transparency is key. Exactly. Let us share the real conversation that's happening and expose the benefits of our way forward, he replied, excitement electrifying his words. They discussed logistics, weaving a plan that took shape before her. Excitement bubbled through Emma. It was time to reframe how her story was told. Soon, they arranged a live event featuring the task force she had built, inviting engagement from the entire company. It would be more than a defense, it would be a celebration of the community they were cultivating together. "Let us make this historic," Emma said to Rachel later, her eyes gleaming. "No more whispers. It's time we speak out loud." Days blurred as Emma prepared relentlessly for the forum with her team. Amidst rehearsals, email chains, and strategy sessions, a sense of unity wrapped around them. The walls that once felt like barriers melted away, revealing allies in unexpected places. The day of the forum felt electric. Emma stood backstage, her heart thumping with anticipation. Colleagues filled the auditorium, the buzz of chatter amplifying the energy in the air. Taking a deep breath, she walked onto the stage, ready to take ownership of her story. "Thank you for being here today," she started, feeling the warmth of supportive smiles in the crowd. The past weeks exposed not just a corporate divide but a rallying cry for something greater. "I stand before you today not just as Emma Lewis but as a voice that seeks responsible change." Her confidence flowed, resonating through every word. The crowd listened with rapt attention as she spoke honestly about her intentions, her concerns for employee welfare, and her vision for a future that prioritized every voice at the table. "There's power in vulnerability, my friends," she said, gazing at her colleagues, her heart wide open. "We need to talk about our challenges openly without fear of reprisal. Together, we can create a culture where that's not only welcomed but embraced." As her speech built momentum, applause erupted, filling the room like a tide sweeping over barriers. She felt their support pulse through her, confirming the strength she had found within. And then the CEO stood beside her, proudly interjecting, "Emma's courage sparked this movement. Now, let us raise our voices together. It's time for us to become a model for transparency in corporate America." The crowd erupted into cheers, echoing affirmations that pulled her heartstrings tight. Emma's fears melted away, replaced by the realization that they were forging a new path together. Weeks later, Emma knew she'd finally found her voice and purpose. Conversations flourished, change snowballed, and she felt the weight of her community behind her. She had weathered the storm, and now stood in the sunlight brighter, bolder, and unyieldingly authentic. As she left the office one evening, her phone buzzed with a new notification. It was a direct message: "Your story inspired mine. Thank you." Emma couldn't help but smile. She had started a cascade, and now, more than ever, she understood the power of authenticity in a world ready for change. This was the moment to embrace, to hold on to forever. And if you felt that thrill of empowerment wash over you, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to catch the waves of transformation coming your way. Hit that like button because it matters more than you know. I want to hear you comment down below how this story impacted you. Don't wait not even one more second to share this incredible journey with at least 5 friends who need this encouragement. Your engagement makes all the difference for creating a community where every voice is heard.